Hello everybody, hello stitchy friends. My name is Danielle and my pronouns are she, her, and this is my channel where I talk mainly about cross stitch, sometimes anything that might tickle my fancy, but it's primarily a channel about cross stitch. And today is the first clip of a new vlog, and today is Friday, February 9th. It's been a little over a week, I think, since I filmed my last clip, like 9-ish days. So I just thought I would check in, show you what I've been up to. This right here is not super impressive for what I have done. So I do have a couple pictures to show you, but before I show you the pictures so that you can see what I've done in the last like 9 days on this. This is my Gilmoreisms project. It is by Forbidden Fiber Co. It's a mystery stitch along right now that is currently running and will be running until the last week of March. And it is on a 16 count Aida in the colorway Casablanca by Forbidden Fiber Co. All the flosses, I have this one out because it's the border color. All the flosses are by Forbidden Fiber Co. because I bought it in a kit. And this that you can see in my Q-snap is the box to be ready for week 7's drop, which will happen on Monday. So I have 3 days until the drop happens. I probably won't be stitching a lot in the next couple days because I just finished up my stitching for Friday morning. I'll be going to bed early tonight because tomorrow I'm going to be getting up early to go to a speech and debate tournament to help judge. And so I'll be, out all day, probably be very tired early and go to bed early. So the soonest I foresee getting back to stitching will be like Sunday night / Monday morning. So this may be the first thing up on the docket, but just so you can see what I've done since I recorded last. When last we spoke, I had drops 1, 2, 3, and 4 Williams Hardware all done, and the box for 5 was done. But I hadn't stitched box 5 yet, which was this rocket. And then after I stitched the rocket, I came down and stitched box 6. I started box 7 but couldn't finish it in the Q-snap. Stitched the 6th drop, and then I came over and finished box 7. So that is what I've done on this project. Yeah, it's been a lot of stitching. I love this project. I am really glad that I jumped in with both feet right away because honestly, like for me personally, all the back stitch and whatnot is not my favorite. So I fear that had I seen the drops, before I had already stitched box 1 before I saw the drop for box 1. So, I mean, it was already a start. And there was back stitch and there was French knots, and I was like, well, okay, and that was definitely very indicative of how the whole piece so far has gone. And so I just think maybe had I not dove straight into this project, it would have just languished and I might never have started it. But it is Gilmore Girls, so you never know. Speaking of French knots, though, I do want to show you. I found a different way to represent the periods, because those are what the French knots have typically been doing. So I don't know if you can see that, but like that right there is a whole stitch, but only in the quarter of the square. So I split the Aida right there, and I split the Aida right there, and I split the Aida there. I used the bottom left hole and then split the Aida in the other 3 spots. I did that quite by accident. I was attempting my French knot and it slipped out of my needle and ended up just pulling through the fabric to make a half stitch in the quarter of the square. And I was like, you know what, let me just cross this. And honestly, I think that it looks really good. So for sure, that's how I'm doing my periods for the rest of this stitch along. This, I've done my back stitch like differently in every box. I've been really like experimenting between 1 strand, 2 strand, long stitches, short stitches. It's just a hodgepodge, and I'm not going to go back and rip anything out to make it consistent. It's just going to be a hodgepodge. So yeah, that is what I have been doing on that project. That has taken up the majority of my time and will be taking up the majority of my time until it is done, hopefully at the end of March. Hopefully I keep up. I've been doing really well so far at keeping up. Boxes 8 and 9 seem very small and reasonable, so hopefully I can spend some time getting like ahead on frames. That would be great. But yeah, so that's where this project sits. And then, so after I got box 7 done, I was really tempted to like start box 10. Box 10 goes like to about here. So box 10 is pretty big. And then maybe go back for box 8 and 9. But I was like, I have some stuff that really needs to get done. So I should not spend my time preemptively doing frames that can wait for another week. So I put that aside. And I picked up and finished my snarky swap, sassy and snarky swap. This is, so this is a 16 count Bestitch Me in an opalescent colorway is called Twinkle. And I signed up to do one of Heather, Link is my homeboy, swaps. She has a new account though for her swaps. I think it's called like Stitchy Swap and ATC or something like that. And so I've never done a swap before, but I really liked the idea of sassy and snarky. So I signed up, got in, and my partner on the Google form said they like the show Parks and Recreation. So I went to Etsy and I searched Parks and Rec cross stitch, and I found this quote, but the quote was like, it had a character, like a really big blocky character above it, and I did not really want to stitch the character. So I found these floral motifs in another pattern that I had, and I just kind of used, I have a little charting software, and I just used that to center orient the quote and add in these floral motifs, and this is a finish. I have to have had it done by February 29th, so in about 3 weeks from now. So I'm glad to be ahead of the curve for this one. I have a finishing board that I'm gonna take tack this down onto, and that's gonna be how I fully finish it. Not, it's not going to be the best fully finished item, but it will be a fully finished item. And it is due to be shipped out no later than March 31st, but you can ship as early as March 15th. So hopefully I'll be more on the March 15th side of things, because the hard part is done, the stitching is done. I have all my other components. I have the card, I have a little stitchy treat. So I have everything else ready to go. I just literally need to put this on the finishing board, continue to do my check-ins, and yeah, so this is done. Very excited to be done with it. Let me show you my colors. These were all Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. I just went to my stash and was like, I need a green, a pink, well, I need a green, 2 pinks, the yellow and the orange. This was originally going to be a blue, but I saw this sort of aqua color, and really it's coming across more blue in the camera. It is kind of like a minty green blue color. And then this reads pretty black, but it is actually called Black Cherry, and you can see it's like a very dark purple variegated. But I, of course, loop start, so lost all that variegation. But yeah, so this was my color palette. All of it came from Stash. I had a very proud moment that I pulled it all from the same brand. So yeah, all that has to get put away. I have to take the piece off the Q-snap, put the Q-snap away. And then let me just show you a couple of plans. These do not go together, but so for Stitch for Pride, for February, I want to stitch it with this color from Bestitch Me. It is called Crocodile, and I feel like it most closely resembles the called for color, which is sort of like an olivey green. I didn't quite look through all of my stash. I was hoping to maybe use the Fangirl Fiber Silks for the whole project, but when I looked through the Fangirl Fiber Silks, you know, there's only 31 of them. There was not even a green at all. And I know that I am free to use whatever color I want. I should not feel constrained by the, you know, called for color, but I don't know. I don't, especially like not knowing what's coming ahead, you know, I just feel the urge to stick close to called for. So this is the color that I have picked out to do that. I have not done my learning yet, so it is something I need to get on top of. And then once I've done my learning, I can feel comfortable doing my stitching. But that's the color I intend to use. So it's pulled and ready. And I just have to pull, I'm going to pull the project out and like put it on my table here where I keep all my stitchy stuff. That way, if I have a moment between all this Gilmoreisms work, I can just go ahead and pull it out and get started. This fabric is a 20 count Aida from Bestitch Me in the colorway Blush. And it kind of, I think it's coming out pretty true to color on the camera. And I have picked this out to do my small for Stitch North, which I am headed to in just a little over 2 months. Very exciting. My passport just got mailed yesterday and is expected to be here either tomorrow or Monday. So that is super exciting. It's coming together. It's coming together. I just bought airfare a couple weeks ago. I am going to be flying into Indiana, and my friend and I are going to drive there and go to the retreat together. But so I was wanting to do a small, right? And I was, but also like completely unrelated. The small came about from this completely unrelated thing. Which I shouldn't have put the iPad down. So let me, while I'm telling you the story, pull the iPad back up so I can show you a picture of what I'm planning to do. So I bought my first piece of 40 count Verdal, because I'm just very curious about the texture of it, if I can even see the holes. And so I was wanting to, and it's in a very pink, very bright pink colorway. And there are a couple of stitchers who are doing this like pink on pink stitching, and I'm very drawn to that. And so I was like, let me go see if I can find something that is like small-ish. Like I don't want to start a big project on this 40 count Verdal, because like what if I hate it, right? So I was of course looking at Modern Folk Embroidery to see if I could find like just a sweet little Quaker design or something monochromatic that I could do on this 40 count Verdal. Well, I saw, now this is not quite the whole pattern. I have cropped this down to just be the stitching that I want to do. There is in fact like a chunkier border that goes around it. But this is from a 3-pin cushion design set. And it's these sweet little bunnies. And I just immediately, I gasped and I was like, that's my Stitch North small. Because this will be perfect. It's, well, according to my markup, it's 750 stitches, so it's still kind of big. But I just think it's so sweet. And I was like, okay, but here's my problem. I don't know how to fully finish anything. Like I have no fully finishing skills, except for, you know, like I said, to just like tape it onto a board. And I was like, you know, after having done Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit Small Exchange, the caliber of the finishing was just so high. The caliber of everybody's finishes was really, really, really good. Intimidatingly good. And so I was like, I I can't bring a crappy little, you know, I cut it out and taped it onto a board finish. So I reached out to a friend of mine who actually I met at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. Her name is Gloria, and she lives down in California. So I reached out to her and I asked her, could I stitch this up in the month of February, get it in the mail to you before, you know, by the end of the month, and then you could have the whole month of March to finish it for me, and then ship it back, because I don't leave till the middle of April. So with her being just one state away, you know, shipping in the mail shouldn't take more than about 3 days. So, you know, if she gets it back to me by the end of March, I feel super comfortable that it would get to me in time. And she said, yes, I'm so grateful. So she's going to be making me a scissor fob, because I feel like this on this 20 count is going to be so small. That a pillow, while yes, technically it is still a pillow because it's a pillowed scissor fob, I just feel like it deserves a purpose versus just being a pillow. And I wanted it to be super small, so I went to my extremely small count, or small stash of 20 count Ada, because I don't have the Verdal yet, and I don't know when it's going to get here. And so I didn't want to like bank on stitching on that. But what's also funny about this is that I got this piece of fabric from Mari at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit this last year. So it just all felt very like circular and meant to be. And yeah, so this is a plan to get this stitched up. This will be the first thing I do actually on my next break from Gilmoreisms, because of the fact that I've got to get it in the mail in the next 3 weeks. So I want to stitch it up. Now, the only thing that I don't know is I don't know if I want to do it monochromatically or if I want to pick a color for the bunnies, a color for the hearts and the crown, and then a color for the rest of it. I don't know. I like the idea of having chocolate bunnies, but not a whole brown piece. So yeah, I don't know yet for sure for colors, what I'm going to do. But that I will probably, like I said, not be stitching again until I stitch on Gilmoreisms. So once I get done with that drop, then I'll turn my attention to colors for this. So yeah, those are my plans for the foreseeable future. And yeah, that is all I have for you for this clip. So I will say goodbye for now and see you in the next one. Bye. Hey everyone, today is Saturday, February 24th, and I'm here to give you a little stitchy update. So, basically, excuse me, getting over a little cold or something. Basically, I've only worked on 3 things. And I'm a terrible floss tuber because I don't even have one of them to show you. I finished it and immediately mailed it off to, my friend who's going to be doing the fully finishing on it, but I did take a picture that I can show you. So we're going to come up here. So this is going to be my Stitch North Small. It is, I talked about it on my last clip. It's a modern folk embroidery pattern, although it is modified to take out the big chunky border. I did it in 2 Classic Colorworks and a Gentle Arts floss. The brown was the Gentle Art, the white and the red were the Classic Colorworks. I don't remember the names. And then I stitched SN24, and my friend Gloria is going to make this into a pillow fob. And actually, I think I have, yes. So she just sent me this picture today. That is the chenille trim that she's going to use. And then that white, I picked that thinner white ribbon. So it's going to be a scissor fob, and that's going to be my small for Stitch North. Then after I did that, the drop for Gilmoreisms had come out, and y'all, that was a beast. But it's not this drop here, it's hidden under here. And I have a picture of what the whole stitch along before I stitch this block looks like. So it was the I'm a Big Fat Flincher in the picture frame. Y'all, that was 1,700 stitches, and that doesn't even count the box, the frame box, because that was already stitched. So I stitched that up and then basically got it done just in time for drop 8. Yeah, the last one there was 7. So this is 8. Rory is going to Yale. So I stitched up the box real quick, and then I did the drop, and then I was able to turn my attention to Stitch for Pride. This is the February section where we learned about Kehinde Wiley, who is a gay African-American portrait artist, and he is I guess most known for doing the presidential portrait of Barack Obama, but he explores, you know, really interesting, he's kind of currently like exploring, you know, turning these sort of classical paintings, which are all, you know, based on very like white European art, into, you know, more modern black art. And also I just love like the florals. Excuse me. All the florals in his work are really pretty and beautiful. And I really love like watching everybody's interpretation of these with floss. I just don't feel confident enough to make changes like that. Like, I feel like every time I try to be creative, I feel like when I try to be creative, I end up like regretting choices. And so I am trying to pick colors that stick pretty close to called for, which I was not able to get the floss pack for, but I used this Bestitch Me in the colorway Crocodile, and I think it's pretty good for comparing to the original called for. And yeah, so that is my stitching update. Hey everyone, today is Friday, March 1st. Technically it's only a couple hours in, so like effectively it is still February 29th. So this is gonna be the last clip of my vlog, and I'm just gonna give you my little like February overview, plus what I've done in the last week. Yeah, so the first thing, well, I mean, I don't know if it was first, but you had seen this in the last clip, and then the next drop came out, and it's this very tiny drop, thank goodness. I Will Always Love You, from pretty much the very end of the show. And I've started the block for 10, haven't quite finished it yet, but it's Friday. Drop doesn't come out till Monday, so I have a couple more days, and it's about half done, I would say. So that is close, and we're getting real close. This will be drop 10 of 13, so we're getting real close. So then, as much as I wanted to finish that block, I went to Acorns and Threads for Whip Wednesday, and that 11 by 11 Q-snap is just a little too much for me to travel with. So I decided that I wanted to work on my round robin, because we are taking a pretty relaxed approach to this round robin, but the goal is to be done with this by the end of March. So I needed to get some more work on it. I haven't worked on it since I started it. And so I took this with me, plus I wanted to get this fabric serged. So, you know, 2 birds, 1 stone. And so what I did while I was at Acorns, I added 336 stitches, and I did, so this medium green was already here, but all the dark green that you see and the light green, those triangles at the bottom, I did all that. So not too shabby. Yeah, and I think I still have maybe 1,700 stitches, somewhere between 1,600 and 1,700 stitches to do here. So Gilmoreisms is sucking all my time, y'all. And then, you know, April, I'm gonna be gone for effectively 9 days if you count like travel and stuff. And out of those 9 days, only 3 of them are at the retreat. So only 3 days out of those 9 will be spent stitching. So April is going to be a bit of a lighter month. But yeah, so we'll see. I think the group has conceded that perhaps the end of April might be more realistic. But I did put some more stitches in. I really love this. There's still several colors that I haven't put in yet, so I'm enjoying seeing it come together. I've been not giving you fabric information and all that jazz. I'm sorry. And then, so today, yesterday, whatever you want to call it, February 29th, was, you know, leap day it's a leap year. And having, you know, being a relatively new stitcher, I was not aware of the sort of, I guess it's a leap day tradition in cross stitch to start a big project with the intention of it being done by the next leap year. A lot of people are doing long dog leap year stuff. I just wasn't prepared. I didn't really get the memo in enough time to prepare anything big. I am not a fan of most long dog samplers as far as me myself stitching one. They're just a little too big for me myself. But I did hear a little when I was at Acorns and Threads on Wednesday, somebody was buying fabric to stitch a frog or start a frog for leap day. And I was like, I can do the frog quirky Quaker. So that is what I did today. I saffed this, which I'm very proud of myself because I don't, even quirky Quakers, I don't really saff them. I still usually take 2 to 4 days to do them. But I pulled from my color and cotton stash. I used rustic black for the eyes and mouth. The main frog body and the doodads on the border is color and cotton shamrock. And then the sort of yellowish greeny yellow color. Get the dog hair off of it. The dog hair says no. Okay. Is gecko. So I thought it made a cute froggy. So yeah, that is what I've done in the last week. And then I wanted to show you my little calendar because I'm super proud of myself that I have been tracking my stitching every day. I would prefer this in a digital format, and no, Notion is just too much for my brain. Notion is too much for me. But if you like actually pause to read what I stitched, you will see how heavy on Gilmore's it is. But so it Gilmore. Then I worked on my snarky swap because I was caught, and actually I finished it off that day. And then I worked on my stitch nor small for 3 days. And then Gilmore. Stitch for Pride. So this is when I started February's Stitch for Pride chart and finished it here. And then Gilmore. Night Before Christmas, which is the Caroline Manning piece for the Round Robin. Quirky Quaker Frog. My total stitches for the month is 8,059, which I'm very impressed with myself because, so in January, there is 31 days in January, but I only stitched for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only stitched for 26 of them. And in 26 days, I got 6,622. Well, in February, there was 29 days, and I only stitched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only stitched 23 days. So a full 2 days less, and I got 8,059. So I got 1,400 more stitches in, 2 less days. And then on the last page of the thing before it switches over to March, I write down what I started, which was my Stitch North Small and Quirky Quaker Frog, and I finished my Snarky Swap, my Stitch North Small, and my Quirky Quaker Frog. So yeah, that is all she wrote on February. And plans for March, keep up on Gilmore Girls. I guess my only plans right now are keep up on Gilmore Girls and then work on my round robin if I have downtime from my Gilmore Girls. It would be nice to maybe do another Quirky Quaker or, something else with my downtime. But I just think that until I finish Gilmoreisms, I am not going to have the time that I would normally dedicate to a project. Like normally when I pick up a project, I work on it for 5 to 10 days is my average. Sometimes 2 or 3 weeks, not often. And I just don't really like picking up and putting down stuff that frequently. So I will just work, if I have downtime from Gilmoreisms, I will work on my round robin, so I'll keep it close at hand. And yeah, that's the plans for March as they sit right now. I will write in, so what I do to track, I'm going to write these in just so that I can write a week total at the end here. But then when I go to total my month, I won't take the week number. I'll just take these 2 numbers and then add them to the other weeks. Oh, plus 31. So yeah, I will write in those numbers from those days. And we're ready to start tracking March stitching. So yeah, I'm gonna edit all this up, put it on the YouTubes. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, doing all those good YouTube things. And thank you for being here. If you're returning, thank you for your continued support. If you're new here, I hope you saw something that you liked and decide you want to stick around and subscribe. And I will see y'all in about a month. Bye!